My first time using the Hero 4 Black. I am going to be refinishing this really cute pine console table that I got at an estate clean out. So I'm going to take you through how to refinish, paint a piece of furniture. I'm not going to be refinishing it with stain. I'm going to be painting it, and I'm going to take you through the steps of what I do when I paint a piece of furniture. Done sanding this piece. So I started with the orbital sander. I sanded the top down. Any flat area, you can use the orbital sander. And then after I was done using the orbital sander, I took the block and I went on the legs and other places where the orbital couldn't sand. This piece didn't have a high gloss finish on it, so I'm not really worried that the paint isn't going to stick. The only time you really have to worry about paint not adhering to a piece is if it has a really high gloss finish. A lot of newer furniture, like Ethan Allen furniture, stuff like that, is going to have more of a high gloss finish, and then that's when paint peels, paint doesn't stick. So the point is to scuff it up so that you get a grip for the paint. So 120 does a good job at just creating a little bit of a grit on the piece that the paint adheres. Oh, are we recording? Oh, it's recording the wall. Alright, so now it's time to paint this piece. We already sanded it down. I know it doesn't look like anything really changed, but all we were trying to do when we sanded it was to create a little bit of a tooth for the paint. So whenever you're painting furniture, you do not need to sand the whole piece down to bare wood. It's completely unnecessary. The only time you would need to do that is if you were going to be staining it, then you would want to get it down to bare wood, and that's a whole different process we can go over in another video. I haven't decided what color to paint this yet. I am getting really tired of painting things white. My shop is a mess, but as you can see, I have some white furniture here. We just took some white furniture to the store, and I am just completely tired of painting white furniture. So the color that I decided to go with is called Manchester Tan. It's a Benjamin Moore color. And I like to use a flat finish whenever I'm doing something that's shabby chic because I just like the way that it applies. It doesn't have a high gloss, and then when I apply a wax or a stain on top of the paint, it gives it that nice sheen. So that's the look that we're going for today. And the brush that I'm using, I only use Purdy brushes. This one's a little bit old. As you can see, it's kind of getting gnarly, but it still has some life in it. I love Purdy brushes. Sometimes I have to cut the handles down because the handles are really long and trying to get into tight spaces doesn't work. So we are not going to be priming this piece today. Sometimes I prime my furniture before painting it if I don't want to shabby chic it. Shabby chicing a piece of furniture means distressing it, sanding it around the edges. Today I'm not priming because interior paint and primer. Another thing with primer is that yes, you can have primer tinted to the same color as your paint, but if I did that every single time, I would have 50 gallons of primer and 50 gallons of paint so that they all match. And when I sand something, I don't like to see two-tone colors all the time. It depends on the look you're going for. Today, we're just gonna be using this paint and primer in one. We're gonna be painting it, and then we're gonna be covering it with a dark wax and sanding it. So here we go. Light brush movements. Always staying with the grain. And the first coat is never pretty. I don't slap the paint on. I sort of put it on generously and spread it out as I go. I'm not going for full coverage on the first coat. I'm just looking to get an even application. To go against the grain to get an application or to put paint on, I make sure that I go over my brush marks on the top. Obviously you guys can't feel the temperature in here. It's about 58, 60 degrees. I'm in the basement. It's a little bit cold, but that's okay. It's better than hot. If it's too hot, the heat will suck the moisture out of the air and your paint will get gummy really fast. So I'd rather work a little bit colder than too hot. Now, you could always choose to use a roller for larger surfaces like the top of this. I find that little rollers work great for large flat surfaces. It gives you a really nice even coat of paint. We'll probably do 2 coats of this today. And again, I'm not really worried about how it looks on the first application because as you're gonna see, we're gonna sand each layer of paint a little bit in between to give it a nice satin smooth finish. So now I'm sure that other people may have different ways of doing this. I have quite a few different ways. I always work a little bit differently. It depends on what I'm doing. Today, this is how I'm doing this. I know this piece is gonna be shabby chic. I'm not terribly concerned about the precision of this paint application because I know I'm gonna be sanding it, I'm gonna be scratching it to sort of mimic wear. And it's not perfect, and that is okay. You see, there's brush marks here, there's streaks, that's fine. That's all gonna go away after we sand the first coat and apply the second. So now moving on to the base. I'm gonna start with the flat surfaces, then I'm gonna move down to the legs. Now, one thing you don't wanna do is go over paint that has already started to dry. It will drag, it will gum up, it'll get nasty, and it'll make it 10 times worse than whatever you think it is. So don't fix it. The only thing that you want to fix are drips. You know, paint dries really fast. People say, okay, well, how long do you need to wait to put on a second coat? It depends on the environment. It depends on where you're painting. It depends on how hot it is, how cold it is. This is only going to take me 35 minutes to apply, 35 minutes to dry, and then I'm going to be sanding it down and putting a second coat on. Now, you can wait longer. Obviously, like the longer you wait, the better it is. But I've done this enough that I know sort of what my time frame is in between coats. So the biggest thing is you definitely don't want to, like I wouldn't want to go over the top of this right now. It'll drag the paint, it'll peel it up, it needs to set, it needs to dry. Now with the legs, depending on the kind of legs they are, if they're smaller, if they're bigger, these are a little bigger, I usually go against the grain to put it on, and then I take my brush and I smooth out what I've already put on. So I'm gonna do this and put it on this way because it's a little bit quicker. And then I take my brush and I go down over what I just put on, just to smooth it out. All right, everyone, so that's the first coat. I wash my brush in between each coat of paint. If you dip it in the paint, you can wrap it with saran wrap. It should keep for up to a week. We'll come back in about 45 minutes to give this its second coat. Oh, am I recording? This thing on and it's already recording. Okay, shutting it off because I'm not trying to record right now.